Okay, I'm going to try this again and try to be as concise as possible. So, usually I don't show my face in videos. It's usually behind the camera, and usually you're seeing a screen recording or something like that. I felt as though this should be done with a video like this for two reasons. Um, One of them is so that I can become a little more comfortable on camera, and two is because, well, I don't have a lot of videos of myself, uh, and I'd like to document this as good, as good, as well as possible. So I had this really interesting and scary health thing happen about a month and a half ago. I was coming home from the gym, and I decided to stop at Walmart to pick up some magnesium. This magnesium I find has been helping me sleep a little better. A little better. It's also kind of helped out a lot of other functions of my body. So I'm taking that. Get to Walmart, had a really good workout, was like, did a little extra, did 20 minutes extra, worked in, a little more cardio. I was feeling really, really good. Uh, Weights were all going up. Just felt really accomplished. I get to Walmart and I'm looking for the magnesium because there's a shortage on all supplements right now. And I have this little bright light in the center of my vision, almost like when a bright light shines in your face, like a camera flash, or whenever you rub your eye and you get the tiny little sparkles of light, which are called phosphenes, by the way. So it didn't go away, and it was in my central vision and stayed there for a minute, and also kind of grayed out my vision, but also extended out from the center to my peripheral vision, which is already jacked up because I have glaucoma and I've lost peripheral vision. So this jaggedy light, very lightning bolt pattern, is in my peripheral vision, and it's crazy looking. It's an aura migraine. I'm familiar with what those are. You want to see jaggedy lines. If you ever have a flash of light that doesn't go away for no reason, and it's circular in nature, that's a sign of a seizure. If it's jaggedy, then that's an aura migraine. Or potentially your retina pulling away from the back of your eye, which is more serious. But if it's jaggedy lines that go away and your vision returns, it's more than likely okay. So I've noticed that I've had these before, and my retina is fine. So it's an aura migraine. This lasted for a while. I drove home, so in the span of I'd say maybe 5 to 10 minutes, this migraine, which, by the way, no pain in my head or anything like that. It was just there. But I noticed that my heart rate started going up and down from 74 beats per minute all the way down. It was like 64 at one point, and went up to 134, doing absolutely nothing. My heart is just going down and up. I know that these are not accurate, but they give you a good idea of what's happening. So, felt a little, it was concerning, because around that time I started getting very confused. And when I say confused, I mean like I couldn't remember certain things. I was only present in that moment. And then it started feeling as though I wasn't even present in this moment. I was living out time as it had happened, like it was previous. Like everything that was happening now had already happened. Not a sense of deja vu, just no concept of time. Like whenever you are under the influence of alcohol, how time ceases to be, or the effects of marijuana, how you have time dilation. This is what I was experiencing. However, I don't drink, I don't smoke, I don't do any kind of drugs. I don't even drink caffeine anymore because caffeine doesn't agree with me. So, my vision is funky. I'm confused. I have no concept of time. My heart's going crazy. I can't explain basic things, and I feel like I'm going to pass out. This impending sense of doom is looming over me. Not good. I was feeling totally on top of the world just 10 minutes ago, and now I'm thinking that I'm having like a heart attack or a stroke or a seizure, or what's going on. Doing deep breathing to slow everything down and kind of like relax my mind, like something's going on, just breathe and you will be okay. This is what I'm telling myself. Although I'm still kind of freaking out because holy crap, like what's going on? I have an appointment with my counselor and I can't explain basic concepts. I feel like my IQ has dropped to like a complete, like I'm not the smartest person in the world, I know that, but I felt dumb. Like I couldn't describe anything. These basic concepts that I'm trying to, like like I talk to this guy, my counselor, very often, and I can't relay basic information. All the while I'm trying to relax and just talk to him and tell him, like what's going on with my week and whatever. I can only focus on the now because there's so much other stuff going on. Like I feel like all the things confused and just everything's going on, and I feel like I have to stand up and move around, because if I sit down, it's like I feel like my heart's racing. So I get up and I move, and just this odd, just weird sensation going on. And after I explained to him, he's like, maybe you want to go and see a doctor about that. And I'm like, yeah, absolutely. if there were any doctors in this town, because my small town doesn't have an ER anymore. I'd have to drive 20 minutes away. But we did have an urgent care. They were not accepted by my insurance because, I don't know, they just don't acknowledge them as being healthcare providers. So I can't see them. But they were kind enough to put a blood pressure cuff on me and test my blood pressure laying down, standing up, and sitting, and everything came back okay. I told myself if I was feeling like this on Monday, I'm going to go to a proper ER and see what's wrong. Lo and behold, Monday comes around. This was like on a Friday that this happened, so, had some time in between it, but I'm more exhausted on Monday, and I feel like I can't function. So I go to the ER, I explain to them what's going on. They get some blood from me. They do an EKG, a small little, the portable ones that take longer to put on all the probes than to do the test. After that, we do a urinalysis, and then they do a CT scan. I passed all the tests with flying colors. There was nothing wrong. Nothing that they could see that was imminently like, oh, you've got something very wrong with you. We need to take care of this. All of that cost $9,000. Said, go to a neurologist and go to an internal medicine follow-up. So I have to find someone in my network, and I find someone who is equally as confused as I am, because I'm not, these weird things that are happening, like, though it sounds very serious, and I'm not an old man, so I shouldn't be experiencing these things, especially not having any other prior, like, I'm generally healthy. The only thing that I have is glaucoma. Other than that, I exercise, I eat right. I mean, I do what I can. So he's like, all right, we're going to test your thyroid. We're going to test your hormones. We are going to test everything. And it was a large order for the lab. I'm like, dude, awesome. Like, because generally whenever some of the symptoms that I've had, minus the like intense symptoms that I had, when I go to a doctor and I would explain what's going on, they're like, okay, let's just take care of one of these at a time, and then we'll worry about the others. We could never fix one of those problems, but I don't want to get ahead of myself. So I go and do the blood work. The people they're like, wow, this is a lot. I'm like, dude, it is what it is. Like, I don't know what to tell you. Like, I know it's a lot. It's going to be a lot of blood. So they test everything. Everything. Time goes on, and I have another weird little episode. And this one's different. This didn't have any accompanying, like, no visual disturbances. It was actually like I was having low blood sugar because I felt very nauseous suddenly. I started sweating. My hands were clammy. The full, like, hypoglycemic just feeling. Like, it's a terrible, terrible feeling. I guess that's how they feel. This is how it was described. This is like, when I look it up, this is what it fits. But I'm not hypoglycemic. Never have been. Every time they, you know, I don't have any issues like that. So I'm tired of feeling like this. I'm tired of these weird random symptoms happening that are popping up where it's like, okay, this could be diabetes. I don't know why. But so some time had passed between when I'd done the labs and whenever I uh, had this last little like attack thing. So I call my primary and I'm like, do we have the results yet? No idea. We'll check, and as soon as we find out, we'll call you back. Not even 3 minutes passed. They're like, okay, come in and we'll work you in. Kind of good to hear that, but also a little like, if it's not serious, can we wait? So get there. I'm still feeling crummy. I ask, basically, they checked my weight, um, blood pressure, and then she looks at me and she's like, have we tested your blood sugar before? Because I'm looking like, not looking well, and telling her how I'm feeling, and pricks my finger and checks it, and she's like, no, you're good. Go back and talk to the doctor, and he's looking at everything, and he's like, well, your thyroid is good, kidneys are good. He's going off the list, and he's like, everything is totally fine. He's like, the only thing, he's like, your B12 is low, so we're gonna have you take 1,000 milligrams of that every day and get that up to order, in working order. And then he informs me that my testosterone is low. Not a lot of men, not a lot of people in general understand the importance of having out of whack hormones. Or, rephrase that, not too many people understand the importance of having your hormones in balance. That's really what I wanted to say. Like, we always discuss how important estrogen is for women, and we know what happens. I, as a man, know what happens whenever women, the estrogen levels in a woman drop, how significantly it affects them. But no one discusses what happens whenever testosterone levels drop in a man. The only thing that has been discussed in recent times, like, I'm sure everyone remembers in the 90s, late 90s, early 2000s, the low T commercials that were everywhere. And the only thing that they discussed was that, it was primarily a sex thing. Are you not performing well in the bedroom? That was really the only thing that they talked about. That was the main focus, was virility. And I think that that's terrible, because not only do men not understand how important testosterone levels are, but there are a lot of doctors that don't understand how important that hormone is to the body. When I was about 21, I suspected that I had low T. And the doctor that I was seeing at the time looked at me and was like, "No, you don't have low T." I'm like, "Well, I mean, how can you look at me and say that?" "Well, if you had low T, you wouldn't have facial hair. You wouldn't have all that hair on top of your head." At the time, I had like a 6-inch beard, or at that time, I had the. Can't remember when it was. It was around that time I do crazy stuff with my facial hair because it grows so fast. It's like that's wouldn't be the case if you had low T. You would have trouble growing facial hair and your body hair. Like you just no, get out of here. And you're young. There's no way you have low T. Okay. And I knew the symptoms. Like I read a lot. I spent a lot of time on the internet reading. And all signs were pointing to that. But for some reason, he didn't think so. Matter of fact, every doctor that I went to didn't think that that was the case. I've had trouble sleeping since around that time. And when I say trouble sleeping, I mean like I was taking Ambien for a while and they stopped giving it to me because you can't stay on it for a long time, and I mean it's for severe cases. I don't know why I'm not a severe case was my question that I would ask them, because I haven't slept properly in years. Why can you not give me something to just knock me out and sleep throughout the night instead of waking up 50 times? Like literally could count and have counted tallies on a piece of paper of how often I would wake up through the night. Their answer for that was you need to be more active. You're not exhausting yourself enough. You've got too much energy at the end of the night. You need to do more. Okay. So I start doing more. I start being more active. Because I do spend a lot of time on the computer, maybe I do need to do more. Doing more. Physically exhausting myself. I still can't sleep. I'm going to the gym. Just being active. More active than my peers who sleep very well. And nothing. For years, that's what I did. And it still didn't matter. So, tell this to more doctors. Hey, why don't we, since we're doing some blood work, making sure that everything's good, let's test my, see if my test is okay. No, we're not going to do that. Why would we test that? You have a full beard and better hair than anyone in here. You're not balding. Besides, you're young. Same excuse. So my levels aren't as low as most people that have like really low. I've heard some stories of people that have really, really low, almost non-existent. But being under 300 is significantly you are diagnosed with low testosterone if you fall under 300. I'm 266. That's only from one test. That's I know that in order to figure out if I have lower levels than that, kind of get an average. But from that test, 266 tells me and kind of solidifies exactly what I've been thinking for years. Why I haven't been able to sleep well. Why I was diagnosed with bipolar disorder just because I had mood swings. Mind you, no manic episodes, just mood swings. The majority of men who have low T, so many of them have been diagnosed with being bipolar or put on medication for depression, SSRIs. They don't need to be on them. It's simply a hormone issue. Now I have a twitch in my right leg, pretty much. I mean, I say it's my right leg, it's kind of the right half from taking large amounts of these medications to make me feel better because I'm quote unquote depressed or bipolar because I don't feel right. Like, this is a problem. I think this is a bigger problem than what most people realize. Because now I'm having these weird symptoms. And all of them could be caused by having low T for an extended period of time. Like, there have been studies that are kind of pointing to the fact that there are a lot of men who have cardiovascular issues that may have been prevented had they had the right T level. They believe now that neurological issues like ALS is something that happens when your hormone levels are out of whack. It could be potentially caused. There's a high correlation between ALS patients and low testosterone. More studies need to be done on it, but that's scary because when I have a hard time remembering places in my own town, not all the time, just days that are good, days that are bad. That's scary to me. And I can see how this is something that's causing a big issue in my life that could have been prevented had one doctor just listened to me when I was younger and said, okay, maybe he's not lazy. Maybe he does have an underlying issue, instead of trying to treat the symptoms. Like, instead of looking at one little thing and saying, oh, you can't sleep? Well, we're going to give you a recipe or a prescription to the gym. You need to just run and lift a bunch of weights, and just, you do all of that and you'll sleep well. At what point do you say that that's not the answer anymore? Am I doing it wrong? Am I not running enough? I'm exhausted. Now I find out that I have the T levels of a 60-year-old man. This is why all of my events happen later in the day. Because our levels are higher in the morning, and then they wane off throughout the day. So very high levels. And if my highest level is 266, which is already in a deficit, and it falls down as the day progresses, it totally makes sense. But before we begin any kind of treatment for low T, we have to troubleshoot the system and see that the heart and the brain is okay. So far, I've had an MRI, an MRA, an echocardiograph, and a carotid Doppler. This is checking my heart, this is checking my head, and this is also checking the vein, the carotid artery, which supplies the blood from the heart to the brain. And you know what the carotid artery is. Got to make sure that that's okay. And I've already had that done on Monday, so 2 days ago. And once I follow up with the neurologist to see what the issue is, if there is no issue with my brain and my heart and my carotid artery, then we'll move on from there, and I'll start doing TRT, which I'm going to do anyways because I have to. Like, I have to make sure that my hormones are, even just knowing what I know now, that it's not okay to have levels that are this low. I have to get on TRT because I've done things to try to boost, like I've taken ashwagandha, I've taken other things to naturally boost my testosterone levels, and I've still felt like this. So it's time for something really significant to change. And I know that that's going to mean that I have to continue injecting myself for the rest of my life, or applying a cream for the rest of my life. Probably going to do the injections because I don't want to do creams or anything like that. Like, I would rather do something that is tried and true and just works. Like, I don't know why, but I would feel more comfortable doing that as long as my insurance pays for it, because they're very, very weird. But either way, I just want to document this because I think that it's very important. Like, this could be the thing that finally makes me feel normal, because I haven't felt like myself for years. When I finally started feeling like coming into like 21, man, like when I first was able to start legally drinking, I started feeling like hot garbage all the time. That's a long time to feel like crap. And if this is the answer to it, dude, sign me up, because I can't, like, not knowing what the issue is and trying everything. Like, I can't think of too many things that I haven't tried doing in order to just get good sleep. And it doesn't work. So, this is a really long video. Holy crap. I'm going to try to make them a lot shorter next time. They'll be concise. They'll be just the important stuff, but I wanted to do one big long one that talks about everything, so that I can go back and look at this later and be like, you know, if for nothing else other than just for myself, so that I can look back at this later and say, yep, that was the turning point. Or they may find something with my heart or my brain, and at least I'll know. But I want to document the whole thing because I don't know, I just feel like I need to. So, all right, that's it. I'm out. as soon as I could figure out how to stop it.